And even at this stage of your career with all your success, I mean, how do you feel, I guess, about putting out a solo record just by yourself? Is there a certain, I don't know, do you feel like layers peeled away since all the focus is on you as opposed to everybody in Alice in Chains or other collaborations you've done? Is there more pressure or less pressure with putting out a solo record?
It's a different. It's kind of the same, and it's kind of different at the same time. So, obviously it's almost a misnomer, putting a record out by myself. The whole solo, the record thing or whatever. But because it took a lot of people.
Sure. Right.
A lot of people working with me on this to make it happen, and that's the case with any record. It takes a village, and the differences are the game is pretty much the same, but the players in the field are a little different. So
I like that analogy. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk sports with you later on because I know you're a sports guy. So,
sure.
So
yeah.
One of those people that helped you with the album, and maybe it's just a song. You have to educate me about it. Is Duff McKagan.
Yeah.
So Duff McKagan, he's on the single out right now, Atone. And I know you guys go way back, but before maybe we get some more about your friendship with you and Duff and your Seahawk fandom. But how did this song come together? How did Atone come together with Duff?
Well, it's an idea that I've been thinking about for a long time and never really found the right parts to put it together to be kind of in its best form. It's just it was a thought, and it finally landed and came into being about a year and a half ago. And Duff was somebody I always have in mind. He's a good friend of mine. His band was really influential on us. When we were starting out. They were one of the key bands that kind of inspired us. To form a band. As well as a handful of others, but yeah, I think he only intended on playing like a song or two on the record. But once I got him over here, I'm like, hey, would you mind playing on one more? Hey, how about one more? And I had him go through about six songs or so.
Oh, wow.
And so it was probably more than he intended, but he got he's so effortless in the way that he plays. His musicality is unparalleled. The guy's just really super creative. He's written some of the greatest tunes and bass lines in rock and roll history, and he's just a cool dude, man. He's my friend.
Right on. So I alluded to it before, and I just don't want to lose it. I know it's a silly question. I know you will care, but it's about sports. So with the, I'm going to ask a question, and there's going to lead into two sports questions, actually. This is from Satya Mortha, who's from Canada. So a more exhilarating experience opening for Metallica at Giant Stadium in 1998 or watching the Seahawks win the Super Bowl at MetLife Stadium.
Yep.
So which one was more exhilarating, opening for Metallica or watching the Seahawks win?
They're both pretty cool, they're both pretty cool. So it'd be tough to pick one or the other. I'd probably have to lean to the Hawks, going to New York and seeing the Hawks just trash the Broncos. It was awesome, and I was there with my buddy Duff, and my friend Heather and Todd Schuss, our longtime assistant. Baldy with Alice in Chains. It was pretty epic,
Right on. And
finally brought it home.
So the album is still a few weeks away, but Brighton coming out on the 10th. What can you tell us about the the title track?
It's a really strong, straight up rock and roll tune, and we just shot a really cool video for it with Gilbert Trejo, a really cool young director, a lot of energy. His dad's Danny Trejo, and
I was wondering. Okay.
Yep, and he's really talented, and it's a great song. And early on, when we were kind of gathering material, my co-producer on the record, Tyler Bates, and my engineer and co-producer, Paul Figueroa. We all kind of gravitated toward that tune, and I remember kind of thinking that would be a great title for the record early on, and the guys were like, "Yeah, man, it's perfect." It's a cool record, man. It's a real rock and roll record. That song in particular is kind of a cornerstone. I'm just really excited for people to hear it. I'm really proud of it.
So let's talk about some of the tracks then. Yes, it's a great, absolutely great hard rock record. But since it was the last song that stuck out to me, because it's the last song I listened to, last song of the album, what is Goodbye about?
Well, it's an Elton John Burning Taupin song, and it's the last song on Madman Across the Water. And I actually covered that song when I did my last two shows before the world shut down in December 2019. Did two shows in LA, and we closed both nights covering that song. And Elton has always been a big influence of mine, and I just love the body of work that he and the band and Bernie put together, over the years, and it's always remained really special and close to my heart. So we were actually talking, Tyler and I, about doing a song kind of like that because of how my voice kind of fit with it. And he's like, that's kind of different, like not really like a rock tune or whatever, just kind of like a cool orchestrated, simple piece that's really emotive like that. And then he was like in the same breath, shit, why don't we just record that? And I'm like, oh, absolutely, let's do it. So we did. We had Paul Figueroa invited Vincent Jones, great keyboard player and arranger, and he came in and did the arrangement for that. I knocked out the vocals and wanted to send it to Elton just to get his okay on it. I wouldn't feel good putting something on my record unless he was okay with it, and so I sent him the track, and he dug it, and it occupies the same space that it occupies on the record that it came out on. It's the last song of Madman Across the Water, the 9th track, and on my record, Brighton, it is the 9th song on the last track. Yeah.
I guess I'm showing my age, and I should give back my classic rock card because, I'm an Elton John fan, and yet that somehow didn't occur to me that was a cover. So it is one of his lesser known tunes, and I'll give away a little secret. Elton told me, he's like, man, I forgot all about that tune. I had to Google it and see what record that was on. You know what? You made me feel better that the guy who wrote the song felt like, okay.
So there you go. Don't feel so bad. Elton even forgot about it. Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry. That I was like sitting here shaking my head. I'm like, really? Wow. You know what? Since we're talking about Elton, and I know I don't have you here forever. Just a brilliant song, and I want to give credit to more listeners who sent in questions. This is from Erica Bromowitz and State of America podcast, which is a Black Rose podcast. So Elton played piano on Black Gives Way to Blue, that brilliant
yes, he did.
Alice in Chains song. Can you tell us how that happened?
Yeah, we started really slow and did like a benefit show for the tsunami relief, as well as a lot of other artists around the world, and we thought that would be a good reason for us to get back on stage and to kind of help out, do our part in trying to raise money for people who were devastated from that event, and that's where it kind of started, and we started kind of after that started thinking about maybe making music again, and we went through the process of a couple of years of doing some shows with William Duvall and invited him in, and then we started writing, and I had this song that I'd written for Lane, and Black Gives Way to Blue, and it ended up being the title record, which was very appropriate, I believe, on our comeback record, and I wanted piano on it because I think my friend Tim Dawson, who used to be my guitar tech, put some keys on it on the demo, and we were thinking about, who do we want to have play the piano on it? And I think Todd Schuss, I got to give credit to him, Baldy, our longtime assistant, and Alice. He's like, call Elton. And I'm like, yeah, I think sure that dude's got better things to do than play piano on a backing track on somebody else's record. And he's like, hey, you never know unless you ask.
Right.
So I wrote him a little email, and he got back to me, and he listened to the song, and he's like, I love this song, and I really dig the sentiment, of you honoring Lane and saying goodbye and moving forward yourselves, and so that's how that all came about. And I think it was the last song that we finished in that session for that album, and we all flew to Las Vegas where Elton was, and walking into the studio and seeing his piano in the middle of the room and seeing my lyrics on his piano was pretty heavy, pretty great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Appreciate you sharing that. You told a funny story, and obviously I'm sure you were able to, you noticed the name of the podcast, Appetite for Distortion, and we were talking about Duff.
Yeah.
But you told I don't know, maybe there's more to this story. I forget where it was, but you were telling a story about when you met Axl Rose in 1988, and you gave him a demo tape, and he threw it out. Like, what songs were on that? Is there any more you can elaborate maybe on that story? Have you ever spoken to him about it?
I did speak to him about it in a club in New York, and he actually came across a room. We had never met before, really, other than just kind of meeting backstage at the show in Seattle at the arena, where I gave him the demo tape. I can't remember what was on it, but like I say, they were an important band to us, and that Appetite is one of like a handful of records that is like one of those epic things that kind of transcends space and time in the band. It's just like the worldwide massive record, and it's perfect. But I was in a club, I think it was with Billy Duffy in New York, and Axl came in, and I saw him come in, and he kind of like locked eyes with me, and I'm like, and then he kind of just started walking toward me like with a purpose, and like, I'm like, okay, and he comes over and he's like, I heard you tell that story about me giving you that demo, you giving me a demo tape. Are you still with that girl that you met there? Because I had told the story. That's where I met my girlfriend Courtney at the time.
Okay.
And he was more curious if I was still with Courtney, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
And we chatted for a little bit, but it's just one of those kind of fun things. You're proud of your band when you're kind of unknown, and they were pretty damn huge, and kids, people still give me their demo tapes all the time too. It's old school. Here, check out some stuff. We used to pass around demo tapes amongst each other, and that's how we kind of learned about other bands and back in the day, before you could just do it all electronically.